They say you will own nothing and be happy. Not because some authoritarian force kicks in your door in the middle of the night, not because soldiers confiscate your belongings or laws suddenly change overnight, but because one quiet, unremarkable year you wake up and realize the world around you has shifted while you were busy. While you were busy surviving, adjusting, scrolling, paying bills, and just trying to keep your head above water. Think about it. Your apartment isn't a home you're building equity in anymore. It's a monthly subscription renewed at the mercy of landlords' apps and algorithms. Your car is no longer something you own and maintain, but an on-demand service you summon with your phone. Your favorite shows, your music, your books, your games, they aren't things you possess. They're streams that can vanish without warning. Your work, your files, your entire professional life lives behind passwords and cloud services controlled by companies you've never met. Your money, it exists as numbers on a screen, governed by rules that can change without your consent. And here is the part that should genuinely make you pause when one payment fails. Maybe because of a glitch, a forgotten charge, a flagged account, or a simple policy change. Your life doesn't slow down gradually like a car running out of gas. It simply stops. Doors don't open, services disappear. Access is denied. The most disturbing part? Nobody forced this on you. You opted in, willingly, because it felt modern, efficient, frictionless, and well harmless. That phrase, "you will own nothing and be happy," didn't come from some secret law or shadowy mandate. It came from a 2016 World Economic Forum essay framed as a speculative thought experiment about a sharing economy where people rent experiences instead of accumulating things. Yet it spread across the globe not because it felt like a prediction, but because it felt like a mirror. A mirror reflecting a reality people were already starting to live. This didn't happen in a vacuum. Housing costs have outpaced wages for decades in major cities, where a home can cost 10 to 15 times the median household income. Ownership started to feel irresponsible rather than aspirational. Cars became expensive to insure, to repair, to maintain. Software stopped being something you bought once and owned forever. Slowly, quietly, ownership stopped being the default path. It became something you had to justify. What makes this shift so unsettling is that it doesn't require a grand conspiracy. It doesn't need a secret meeting. It emerges naturally from incentives. Convenience lowers our resistance. Pricing punishes ownership. And sheer exhaustion makes us compliant. When you are overwhelmed, tired, overworked, and stretched thin, you'll trade long-term sovereignty for short-term relief. Not because you're weak, but because survival comes first, and philosophy comes a distant second. Housing shows this most clearly. Institutional investors, private equity firms, pension funds, are buying entire neighborhoods, turning homes into yield-producing assets. Mortgage terms stretch longer. Interest rates rise faster. And the ladder that previous generations climbed is being quietly dismantled, rung by rung. Renting is rebranded as lifestyle freedom, even as rents rise faster than income and stability drifts further out of reach. Transportation follows the same pattern. Modern cars have become rolling software platforms with features locked behind subscriptions. Insurance is tied to your behavior, and repairs are controlled by proprietary tools. Ride-sharing feels frictionless and liberating, until surge pricing hits, or service gaps appear, or your account is suspended. Then you realize you don't control your own movement. You rent it moment to moment, under terms that can change overnight. Entertainment transitioned even faster. Music, movies, books, games. They all move from physical objects you could touch, store, and pass down to infinite streams. They feel permanent, until a license expires, a catalog is pulled, or content is quietly altered. You're left with a gray placeholder where something meaningful once existed, a stark reminder that even your cultural memory no longer fully belongs to you. Even our work underwent the same quiet revolution. Stable careers with predictable benefits gave way to platforms, dashboards, ratings, and algorithms. Your skills are real, but your access to an income is conditional. One policy update, one bad review, one automated decision can erase your livelihood with no appeal. This isn't oppression by force, it is dependency by design. Ownership carries responsibility, risk, and maintenance. Access, on the other hand, carries leverage. And leverage is far easier to monetize, to scale, and to control. This is why happiness itself has been subtly redefined. Away from autonomy, permanence, and rootedness, and toward convenience, distraction, and low-effort comfort. History shows us that societies trading durable ownership for ephemeral access always follow the same arc. First, there's initial excitement at shedding responsibility. This is followed by a growing unease as options begin to narrow. Then comes resentment as prices rise. And finally, dependence, where a true exit becomes unthinkable. Not because of tanks in the streets, but because of pricing, permissions, fine print, and algorithms. So the real question is not whether this world is coming. It's already here. The question is what you choose to own inside it. Ownership has never meant owning everything. It means owning enough enough that your life does not collapse when systems fail, when accounts freeze, or when the rules change unexpectedly. Productive ownership matters. This doesn't mean a trillion-dollar corporation. It means a small, boring business, a niche service, a local operation, a digital product, a consulting practice. Owning production gives you optionality, the ability to pivot, to refuse bad terms, to survive platform changes, and to remain standing when those purely trading time for money are wiped out. Ownership of money matters too. Most people don't own money. They rent purchasing power from centralized systems that inflate, debase, and rewrite rules. This is why history is filled with moments when people sought harder assets. It's why Bitcoin exists, with its fixed supply and transparent rules. It's why Monero exists, to preserve privacy. Because ownership without privacy is fragile, especially in a world where surveillance flows in one direction. Other hard assets like gold and silver can fill that need as well. Physical space still matters. Whether that's a home, a piece of land, or even just a modest place to stand. Permanence changes our behavior. It encourages investment, it strengthens community, and it allows for long-term planning instead of perpetual rootlessness. Skills are a form of ownership too, especially rare, deep portable skills that compound over time, resist automation, and make you harder to replace. And finally, your health remains the most sovereign asset of all. Energy, clarity, and resilience reduce your dependence on convenience and external systems. Every major transition in history creates the same divide. Most people drift with the current, choosing whatever path demands the least immediate effort. A minority prepares quietly. And later they get labeled lucky, even though they were simply paying attention while options still existed. So when you hear you will own nothing and be happy, don't hear a threat or a promise. Hear a warning label, because happiness without ownership is fragile. Ownership without intention is heavy. And freedom lives in deliberately choosing what you refuse to give up while you still can. That was the breakdown. And if this made you uncomfortable, good, because that means it worked. So like and subscribe. Comment the next topic you want broken down, since we build these videos around your questions. Stay curious, keep learning, and remember that understanding the system is still the first step to staying free inside it.